news at the moment. One thing that I think is very interesting is where they're going to use Keith Higgins this year, because they know they've got versatility with him. He was playing in the full back line the other day, came up, scored a wonderful goal. And just basically, I watched the game on TV and my observation was that he was marking Darren McCurry at times. Occasionally he seemed to be the spare man as well. But in the past he played in centre forward as well, and we know how good he is. So, Paddy, where do you think Mayo would best be able to utilise Keith Higgins? He is 33 years of age. Do you want to be zapping his legs running after a young corner forward from side to side, or get him on the ball?
I'd be more worried if I was playing against Mayo and he popped up the field, in the forward line. I think he's proven down through the years how adaptable he is as a player, how natural he is on the ball. He's clever enough. He can take a score, he can kick a point, he kicked a great goal at the weekend. I'd be more worried setting up defensively against them if Mayo could maybe add a little bit more free scoring players to their forward line. They've kind of been over-reliant over the last couple of years. So any way at all to keep the scoreboard ticking up front, and I think he might be an option there just to kind of sweep between midfield and half forward and get in maybe 2 or 3 points from play.
The question then is, do they have enough guys at the back who can cover for him? So I was going through the names. So O'Donoghue, Chris Barrett, Brendan Harrison, Paddy Durcan, Colin Boyle, Lee Keegan. You could even play Donny Vaughan at the back as well if you want to. So they're not left short back there if they do move him up the field.
Oh yeah, they've plenty of cover at the back as well. I think you'll see that throughout the rest of the league. James Horan he'll experiment. But I think that they're going to focus heavily in on the league and try and go all out to win. They'll want to play Dublin as early as possible in the season for a major honour. And if it comes to it, I wouldn't be very surprised to see Mayo and Dublin in a league final. I think that's the route that it looks that James Horan is trying to set up.
I'm going to bring the guys in a second, but just one final question for you, Paddy, on this particular topic. Last year, Keith Higgins played hurling for the league for Mayo and then came back and played football as well. This year, James Horan is back and he's playing football throughout the league as well. Now, you're in a county that had the likes of Mickey Burke, who was jumping between the hurling and football as well. Do you see anything in that, the fact that he's back playing football only from the start of the year this time?
I think it's very difficult for lads to try and dual play at the moment. We had Mickey Burke did it for years. We had James Toher then 2 years ago trying it as well. And just the hassle for the player themselves to try and, fulfill training for 2 managers, serving 2 masters, especially if the managers work well together and are talking regularly, yes, it may work. But, the commitment levels for both teams is so high nowadays that it just physically isn't possible on the body. If you're playing a league match on a Sunday and then you have to train, you're going to be asked to train at least 3 times then during the week, twice with one with the other. There's going to be strength and condition, there's going to be recovery sessions in the middle there. So you basically, every day of the week will be taken up, and hurling isn't a sport that you can just rock in, pick up a hurley and go out and be the best player on the pitch. You have to obviously do an awful lot of individual work in the wall balls and that sort of stuff. So I think this year it's a sign of an intent from Mayo and from Higgins and from Horan that they're focusing in maybe to get their hands on national honours early in the year, and then focus in on one big ambush maybe on the championship later on in the year.
Mayo have averaged about 4th or 5th position in the league since James Horan first took over in 2011. Number 1, are they going to try and win the league this year? And number 2, what part of the field would you like to see Higgins in if you were a Mayo fan? Because their ability to carry the ball at teams at pace with a change of direction is probably why they were so competitive with Dublin over the last number of years.
I don't think there's any question that Keith Higgins is a better halfback than he is in the full-back line. But the question is, are Mayo better served with him there? Because I think, you look at the half-back line, it's Keegan, Boyle, Durcan. And it's hard to find a way for Keith Higgins to get in ahead of any of them, because I think then, if you get into your full-back line, is Keith Higgins in your best 3 players in the full back line? And I think, yes, he absolutely is. If you put him in one corner, Eoin O'Donoghue in the other corner, then the question mark with Mayo is full back, as it has been, I think, for a little while. You've got options there, Harrison, Barrett, you've got Vaughan as a potential option there. And if you go with Vaughan there, then maybe you've got Stephen Cohen as an option in midfield, who perhaps hasn't made himself, hasn't shown himself to be ready to play midfield in a big championship game just yet. I think it's going to be a big year for him, though. So I think that the answer there is Harrison or Barrett at full-back, Keith Higgins one side of him as a corner-back, and I think that's the way they go.
And Cohen man-marked Peter Hart the other day when Hart was going in and out as well, so they see him as an option back there.
I think Higgins is such a luxury, and so it's actually such a blessing to be able to name a man like that in cornerback, because, like, he can do the job cornerback. He can man mark, and he's fast enough, and as Paddy mentioned, he's a very adaptable player. I just think with that man, it's horses for courses. Like, who is he going to be man marking inside? And if it's the case that they're playing a team, say it's Galway and Shane Walsh is dropping out the pitch, leave Higgins on him, and Higgins will do damage himself following him out the field. He can play anywhere on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Like, how natural he took that ball.
33, your leg's going to be killed early, marking someone like Shane Walsh.
Well, yeah, that's it. You got to kind of adapt then and move him around. But the thing is, he can play anywhere. He can play inside or he can play out the field. I think he's a luxury to have. And if he can keep going for one more season, personally, I think Mayo are going to be fantastic to watch this year.
Mayo are flying, and they have Cavan this weekend. You expect them to win. Some of those new players as well look good. The likes of Fionn McDonough.
It's not even flying. It's the fact that McDonough is making an impact. It's the fact that Brian Reap, who kind of stood out at DCU and fresher level and under 20 level, is actually scoring quality goals. Like mentioned by Paddy a minute ago, free scoring forwards. Like, I don't know if McDonough will post 1-3 every week, but he's shown that he can kick ball. You know, they've got Loftus to come back, they've got McLaughlin to come back, O'Connor to come back, and they've actually got a lot of good under 20 players coming through, like Michael Plunkett last year, and I think they're freshened up. Like June 30th, they're out June 30th last year.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was just going to ask Paddy, do you think Mayo are the most likely to dethrone Dublin if anyone was going to do it?
Sneakily, yeah, that they could be. I wouldn't say dark horses because they're thrown into the mix every year, but I think they're looking rejuvenated under James Horan so far, and I think it's a sign of him in as a manager that there's a belief back in the squad. You see Aidan O'Shea starting the first round of the league, and I think as the year goes on, they're only going to strengthen, as you mentioned, with the players to come back in for the rest of this league. They've a very winnable match I think it's down in Mayo this weekend. They've Cavan. So, they could be six points from 6 after 3 games. And, after that, then you're going to be easing Cillian O'Connor back into the team. Kevin McLaughlin back into the team. Like, it's only going to go one way for Mayo. So, be quite excited to see. I'd say they could retain Connacht anyway, definitely. And I wouldn't underestimate them to come up against Dublin again this year in a ding-dong
in the
match.
Super 8s. That'd be nice. Mayo and Dublin in the Super 8s.
We take that.